Sharma, Assistant Professor, Ajay Kumar Garg, Engineering College. Today I am going to start with the next lecture for the subject, that is Data Communication Network KEC 063. The topic of today's lecture is connecting devices. The contents of my lecture is connecting devices, then there are different types of connecting devices that we will see, that is hub, switch, it may be a router or a modem will be there. So, what is connecting devices? Whenever we set up any network which is been formed with different devices, like I have set up a network with 4 different nodes, these are 4 different nodes and these are connected in whatever topology, it may be a mesh topology, it may be a star topology, it may be a bus. Hybrid topology is also possible, which consist of combination of any 2 topologies. So, whenever a network is set up like this, so this has been formed with different connecting devices, like this is the first connecting device, then this may be a node, that node can be a computer or it may be a printer or any hardware device. So, this will basically form the network. Now, connecting 2 or 3 networks together, like when 2 LANs are connecting, then a connecting device is required. So, that the proper communication between the 2 networks will be set up. So, the introduction is LAN do not normally operate in isolation, but they are connected to one another or to the internet. So, alone the LAN, what is LAN? LAN is a local area network that is basically set up in a very small area, like in an office a LAN is set up and it has to be connected to a internet definitely, because LAN is set up for transferring any file or something for the office purpose, and that requires that it has to be connected to the internet or any it may be possible that 2 LANs are connected to together. So, to connect the LAN, connecting devices are needed and various devices are available, that may be a bridge, switch, router, hub or repeater. So, there are basically different types of devices are available. Now, you can see that there are 5 different layers, that is physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport and application layer. So, what are these layers? In my previous lecture, I have discussed about different layers or the layered task I have started. Then I have discussed about the OSI model, that is open source interconnection model, that is been developed by ISO OSI model it is known. It consists of 7 layers, that is physical layer, data link layer, network layer, then transport layer, session, presentation followed by the application layer. So, there are basically 7 layers associated with the OSI model, but when we are talking about the another type of architecture, that is also a layered architecture, that is known as TCP/IP model, that is transmission control protocol or internet protocol, then it consists of 5 layers. What are those 5 layers? These 5 layers are these, that is physical layer, data link layer, network, transport and application layer. So, in this diagram what we are going to see, that how this TCP/IP layer model is mapped to these connecting devices, like this is the passive hub, this is repeater or hub, this is bridge or 2 layer switch, then router or 3 layer switch and a gateway. So, basically at each of the layer, what are the connecting devices that are possible, so that the different networks networks can be connected together, like 2 LANs I want to connect, and at what layer I can use what kind of device, connecting device. So, that mapping is shown in this connecting in this diagram. So, what is a repeater? A repeater is nothing, it is a device that will going to repeat whatever it will going to receive. Repeaters are generally used due to the curvature of the earth. Why? Because since there is no line of sight is available between the transmitter and receiver when we are talking for the long distance communication. because for the long distance communication, due to the curvature of the earth, because you know that earth is like somewhat like this, and let us say the transmitter is present over here and the receiver is present over here. So, there is no line of sight will be there between the transmitter and the receiver. So, repeaters are generally required. So, so that the quality of the signal that is been transmitted will be maintained at the receiver side. Secondly, it will going to maintain the strength of the signal, that is definitely the quality, and also it will going to repeat the same signal that has been received at its input. So, repeaters are there, and generally approximately after 50 kilometers we have to use a repeater. So, this is the function of the repeater. Then bridge, router you are very familiar with the routers in your office or at your home also routers are available, which will provide the internet connectivity. Then gateways are there, we will going to see each one in detail. So, the first one is hub. Now, this is the diagram of the hub. As you can see that this is the main unit which will going to operate these computers, or you can say this is not only the computer, this can be considered as a node. And why I am going to refer this as a node, because also other than this computer, maybe a printer is connected, maybe another device, a scanner is connected. Then what is a hub? Hub is basically going to interfere, or it will be a intermediate node, you can say. Let us say this computer wants to send the information to this computer. So, this is the sender and this is the receiver, then it has to be transferred through this hub. Data sent by one node, data is forward to all the connecting nodes. So, this is the hub, and you can consider that in which kind of topology it will going to use. If you remember, it is a based on star topology. In the star topology only we have discussed about different devices which is connected through a hub. So, this is somewhat like the star topology. So, there is an issue of security is there in this hub, because whatever information you want to transmit from this device to this device or any other device, it may be possible that you want to transmit this information to all the 4 other computers. That is a case for broadcasting is there. So, that is also possible. But in this in any of the case, either you are broadcasting or either you want a point to point communication. In point to point communication only one transmitter and one receiver is there. So, in both the cases when the hub is involved or any intermediate node is involved, so definitely there is a problem of security is there, because that third party or the intermediate node will going to see that what information you are transmitting. To overcome that security problem, you can use encryption at the transmitter side and you can use decryption at the receiver side. What is encryption? In case of this encryption which is been done at the transmitter side, you have to add a PN sequence. What is PN sequence? PN sequence is nothing, it is a randomly generated bits which is of larger size as compared to your original data. Let us say my original data is of 4 bits and I have added 15 bits additional which is of random, which is randomly generated. It will act as a key, and that same key has to be used at the receiver side for the decryption purpose, or you can say for the demodulation purpose. For getting the your main 4 bit of information. So, that same key has to be used at the receiver side. So, in this manner the third party or the hub whichever is involved, if that particular device does not know what is 15 bits, what is the unique code that you have used for this transmission, it will not going to demodulate your original information. That 1101 will not be decrypted or will not be seen by the hub or any other device. It may be possible that let us say an example of bus topology where more than 3 to 4 devices are there and intermediate computers are present, there is no hub is there. To maintain the security, to increase the security, encryption and decryption is the best option that you can opt. So, this is the introduction of hub. This is a kind of connecting device. Also, this cannot be a node, it may be possible that this is LAN 1, this is LAN 2, this is LAN 3, LAN 4 or LAN 5. So, this is a kind of this is just an idea that how you can use the hub. Now, hub is used as a central point of the connection among the media segments. So, there are basically 3 types of hubs are available. First one is the passive hub, second is active hub and third one is the intelligent hub. Now, what is passive hub? If you see, this provides a pathway for the signal to travel and it does not need power to operate. So, you all have know about passive devices and active devices. In passive devices, it does not require any power to operate. So, same way the passive hubs are there which will do not require any power to operate. It provides a pathway for signal to travel, means it will going to basically guide the signal that at which point it will going to travel. So, this is the case for passive hub. In case of this active hub, provides a pathway for signal to travel, again it will regenerate the signal before passing it on. So, what is the main advantage of using this active hub? It will going to regenerate the signal, means regenerative repeaters are used. Repeaters, I have told you that what are repeaters? Repeaters are nothing, these are the devices through which we are going to transfer the information. It will going to repeat the same signal. Whenever any signal which has been affected with noise, it will going to remove that noise, it will going to maintain the original strength of the signal and will repeat the signal at its output. So, regenerative repeaters are used in active hub, that will maintain the signal quality. So, this is the main plus point as compared to this passive hub, and it requires power to operate. So, this you can consider it as an advantage or disadvantage that it requires a power to operate. Now, next is intelligent hub. It performs the job of active and passive both. So, what are the advantage in passive hub? That it does not require power. What is the advantage in active hub? That it requires power, but advantage is that it will going to regenerate the signal. So, regeneration is very important, so that whenever we are transmitting the information over a longer distance, then it will going to repeat or it will going to regenerate the signal whichever it will be when it will be affected with noise. Then intelligent hub helps in troubleshooting by pointing the actual location of the problem. So, it will going to see that whatever problem is being generated is there in establishing the network, it will going to remove it. Now, next is the switch. Now, switch is having the same function as the hub. You can see that this is the data sent by one node and data is forwarded only to the destination node. So, this is how the switch will going to work. It will going to transfer, means it you can say that there is a point to point communication is there. There is no option of broadcasting is there in case of switch. It will going to connect only the destination node to the intermediate node. So, that the data will be transferred from this node to only this node. So, this is the main aim of the switch. Now, this is the introduction. It forwards the data package to only one destined device, which means there is no broadcasting is available, only one to one communication will be possible, means point to point communication is possible in this switch. It checks the MAC address found in the NIC. To do so, by forwarding the data to only the destined device, it reduces the number of collision of the in the network. So, it uses 3 methods to deal with the data that has arrived. Now, first thing is that which has to be noted about the switch, that point to point communication is possible. Secondly, it will going to reduce the collision. How the collision will be reduced? If we are talking about the networks, which is the subject, that is data communication network. In networking, whenever a data is received at any node or computer, it has to decide at that particular node that what is the destination. To move to that particular destination, there may be possible that more than one intermediate nodes are available or more than one path is available for the transmission purpose. Then let us take an example that this is the first node, this is the second node. If you want to this is an interconnected network, fine, means 4 nodes are there. If I want to transmit my information from this side to this side, so there are 2 options are available in this situation, like first path is this one, second path is this one. If I am going to calculate the path length, then in both the situations, whether I consider path 1 or path 2, then path length will be same in both the cases, but the main idea is that it will going to, in which case it will going to reduce the collision. It may be possible that the second packet has arrived over here and it has to be transmitted over here, then the collision will be reduced in case of switch, because it is a kind of one to one communication is possible in the switch. So, the 3 operations or the 3 methods that has to be deal in this case is, the first is the cut through. It begins to forward the package as soon as it arrives, means it will not going to check or it will not going to reduce the noise which is present over here, that no error checking is performed, packet is moved quickly. So, cut through, whenever it will going to the advantage is it will going to reduce the waiting time of the particular packet. Once it will be received, it will be forwarded quickly. Then store and forward, waits to receive the entire package before forwarding it, and basic error checking is performed. So, there is an advantage of using store and forward. Store and forward means it will going to receive once the packet will be received or the particular portion of the packet will be received, it will going to wait that the entire packet will be received and it will going to perform the basic error checking option using this store and forward. Next is the fragment free, built on the speed advantage of cut through and forwards the package in fragments. Fragments means a small portion of the data will be forwarded in the switch. Now, next is router. You can see in this diagram that data is sent to the router. The router determines the destination address and forwards it to the next step in the journey. So, you can see that this is the workstation, this is the server workstation and this is the router part, this is router, then this is again router and this is again router. So, 3 routers we are using, these are the different computers which are connected over here, these are the different computers. So, in the first case the data is sent to the router. Secondly, the router determines the destination address and forward it to the next step in the journey and the data is reached to the destination. So, whenever a network will be formed, like this is the first network which is formed, this is the second network and this is the third network, and all these 3 networks are connected through these routers. So, once the data is received at the router, it will going to check that what is the destination. Like I have told you in the previous lecture that logical address and physical address is available. Physical address is unique for every device. So, it will going to check that what is the source destination address. So, it will going to forward to the next device. So, this is the function of router. So, it will going to increasingly common sight in any networking environment, most commonly used to connect a home computer to an ISP, internet service provider. So, I have said that earlier that router you have seen in your home, you have seen in your office, in your college also. So, routers are generally used to connect your device to a internet. Now, used to create a large network by joining 2 network segments, means if I want to connect 2 LAN networks, then routers are the best option available. It derives its name from the fact that it can route the data from one network to the another. When it receives a packet of data, it reads the header of the packet to determine what is the destination address. When it will going to find out that what is the destination address, what is the physical address of the particular device which is been required to the data has to be forwarded, then it will going to forward to that particular destination device. Now, next we will see modem. What is modem? Modem is made up of 2 words, that is modulator then this is demodulator. Modulator is used at the transmitter side and demodulator is used at the receiver side. So, what is the basic function of this modulator and demodulator? When we are talking about modem, modem is a single device. It will going to modulate the signal. Why we need to modulate the signal? Whenever the signal is in its original form, then it has to be increased to its increase its frequency, because the original raw signal is basically having the very less frequency. It has to be traveled to a longer distance. So, we have to increase its frequency. How we are going to increase its frequency? Like this is a message signal of low frequency, then we require a carrier signal. Now, what is this carrier signal? This is of higher frequency as compared to the message signal. You can consider like this. So, this is the carrier signal, this is the message signal, and you have to apply this to a modulator. What is the output of this modulator? The characteristics of this carrier signal will be changed proportional to the amplitude of this message signal. Now, what are the characteristics of this carrier signal which has to be changed? Like the amplitude of this signal has to be changed, or the phase of this carrier signal will be changed, or it may be possible that you are changing its frequency. So, amplitude, phase and frequency, any of the characters you have to change of this carrier signal proportional to the amplitude of this message signal. Whatever signal we are getting, like if I am going to change the amplitude, then I will get amplitude modulated signal. If I am going to change the phase, then I will get this phase modulated signal. If I am going to change the frequency, then I will get this frequency modulated signal. So, these are the three signals, modulated signals, that I am going to receive at the output of this modulator. So, this is the basic idea of modulation, why we require modulation, what is the need of modulation. The basic aim or the basic advantage is to make travel the original signal over a longer distance, so that the frequency will be increased. Secondly, it helps in multiplexing, means if more than one user wants to transmit the information over a common channel, then it will be done using this modulation. Secondly, it will going to remove the interference or noise, any effect of that. This is the idea behind this modem. In the short form, it is known as modulizer or demodulizer. The modulation, whichever it is done at the transmitter side, the same has to be performed at the receiver side. The same carrier signal I have to use at the receiver side in case of demodulation. Why? To maintain the synchronization. If I will use different carrier signal, then the synchronization will not be maintained. It converts the data being used by a computer into an audio signal that is able to be transmitted over a phone line. When a signal gets to its intended destination, another modem that reconverts the signal back into the data. The process of converting the data into an audible sound is known as the modulation. Then converting it back to the data is known as demodulation. So, means the original data first converted into the required form, so that it will travel over a longer distance. Then whenever at the receiver side I am going to convert that back into my original form, that is known as demodulation. Modem provides a relatively slow method of communication. The fastest modem available on market today is maximum speed of 56 kbps, which is unsuitable for downloading large files. So, this is all about the modems. So, these are the references that I have used for this topic. So, in this lecture we have discussed about different connecting devices to connect different networks to increase the network for the internet, for making the better use of the internet. So, that is how this connecting devices are used. So, thank you for this lecture.